Awesome. Welcome to Liquidity Alpha, your go-to platform for liquidity tracking. Today we're going to look at virtuals and WIF along with Bitcoin and ETH. Hey, Justin.
Hey, Ankit, how you doing?
Good, good, good. Awesome. Should we start from Bitcoin and Ethereum? We did our
Uh,
first tracking last week. So it'll be good to touch base on what happened with those two coins first.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, so last week we were looking at this bullish liquidity, but we said there was a little bit of a risk to test this 100K.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it looks like it dropped down to 102, but it seems the bullish liquidity has maintained. And so we got a nice bounce going. And so, yeah, it looks like the downside we were kind of worried about didn't happen, and the skies are still pretty clear for bullish performance.
That's awesome. So we were aiming for 100K to touch. It did touch 102 with one candle,
Yeah.
right? I think it was one of the hourly candles, and
Yeah,
then it
on Monday.
and tested the support level, right? That we have here. Um, Tested the support and jumped back right up to the levels it's sitting at.
Yep, yep. And so it's nice to see that this 100K support looks like it's pretty robust, and liquidity is still bullish. So it's just a bullish outlook all around, honestly.
Yeah, it's not like daily. It could be weekly outlook as well, right? Or you're looking at certain time frame that because when I'm looking at it, I feel the data. It looks very very bullish.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. So these are daily candles, and if they're green, that means there's some nice bullish liquidity. If they're red, that's bearish. And this outlook is pretty long, right? So we're looking at daily candles, and so it kind of gives us a week to 2 week outlook of just bullish skies,
Ah, I see. So even
you
though
know.
we're looking at the daily data on the trading view, it could be as far as 1 or 2 weeks out.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Um,
Right.
because like, yeah, definitely.
Cool. 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 All right. So bullish for Bitcoin. Cool. And any price targets you
Mhm.
think will hit in the next couple of days or a week? Because
Yeah, I mean, I wish, but from this view, there's no, when I think price targets, I typically look for, is there something that's going to stop the bullish kind of liquidity from just going up, and we don't really see any of that here. So,
right. Okay. Cool.
you know,
Cool. I mean that's great. So we reversed our analysis from last week. What we were looking at was a downside, a little bit downside, right?
mm,
And now we are really saying it's upside from here.
yeah, and it's, I think importantly is we saw that this, this line, this support right here, which is just a nice chunk of liquidity. It already, at least for one candle, did a good job of keeping things afloat. And so even if over the next few days we see price start migrating down, we're still going to have that in our back pockets to know that the 100K support level has kind of already proven itself. So we should expect it to do the same again.
Yeah, yeah. And just for
So
everyone that's going to watch it or is watching it, this is our own proprietary tools, which you're going to be able to access through Liquidity Alpha. So that
yeah,
platform will be out soon, hopefully next couple of months, and you'll be able to access yourself this data. Cool.
yep, yep.
Should we move on to
So
Ethereum then? Let's have a look at what we were projecting Ethereum and what it did.
yeah, so I think if I remember our outlook for Ethereum, and again, this is on the daily candle,
Yeah.
we noticed that the price was kind of stalling around this line of support or kind of resistance,
Yeah.
even though the liquidity was bullish. And the outlook was kind of two pronged. It was either kind of follow in Bitcoin's footsteps and keep just bullish liquidity straight up to the next line of resistance here,
Resist. Yeah.
or kind of like stagnate.
Right.
And it looks like stagnating is the thing that's kind of been going on. Um,
Right.
but liquidity, the candles are green, so liquidity is still bullish, and so ultimately the outlook is still a test of this level of
Right.
resistance,
Right.
which looks like right now is at like 2009.66.
Yeah, yeah, it's come down. I think last week it was 3,100 something, and that's come down to 29. This bid, this
Oh, I
ask, right?
see.
Yeah, it's been coming down. These
Yeah,
asks that we're projecting last week was 3,100. I think it's now 2,900.
yeah, it's moving. So, but you know, with as long as it keeps that bullish liquidity, we expect that test to come for sure.
It might be a little bit turbulent, you think? I mean, what I'm seeing is it might retest a little bit, support level here.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think turbulent. Anytime you kind of see the price, I think hovering, you know, uncomfortably long near support, you know, you tend to get a little anxious. So, yeah, a little bit of turbulence is maybe on the horizon, but kind of like we saw with Bitcoin, if we do fall through that level of support, we have another one right here, this blue line, and that's at 1,665.
Yeah.
So that's like the worst case scenario on the horizon right now is failure of the current support and then drop down to that, you know, 1,800 level. I think
Right.
we outlined last week. But that's again not the main outlook. The main outlook is just because these candles are bullish, so
Yeah.
the overall movement should be up.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's interesting. And, as we were discussing before the start of this stream, we might start to play around with this with our own like $100 or whatever. We might start to put in to actually start trading
Yeah.
live to make it more fun and
Okay.
make it more exciting for everyone who's gonna watch it. But that's cool. That's cool. I think we've looked at two different coins from last week. And what I think we should do for this stream is to look at a couple more of the coins that are perhaps trending for some time. And the two that I was thinking, which we discussed, is WIF, which is one of the Solana coins, and VIRTUAL. So they've had they've been performing really well last 30 days. They've had huge pumps last 30 days. So we can look at those two for this session today.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Which one? Any preference?
Let's start with WIF. Yeah, if you have WIF open.
Yeah, with here it is. So this is the 2 hour. I think before we were on the 1 hour or 1 day candles. But we see that the 2 hour we had a nice test of this 94 cent support. Candles are green, and so the outlook is bullish skies. In terms of where we might expect some turbulence, we definitely have this level of resistance here at like $1.04. And so as price starts testing that, as long as the liquidity stays bullish, we expect to move past it.
Yeah.
But then we kind of have another immediate level of resistance at $1.08.
But
so-
that ask is coming down also, right? So next maybe a day or so, that ask might even drop further. So it's actually like merging, right? The two asks that we see above it, the price today, it might actually merge in next couple of days, maybe a day or so.
Yeah. So, and that's definitely looks like what's those two lines are up to.
Right.
And so it kind of paints a picture of something like this, like we'll probably have some bullish liquidity. We start getting turbulence here. And then as long as the bullish liquidity maintains, then the outlook is that the turbulence will just push through it and then zoom upwards. But this area of turbulence is, that's where we're going to want to keep a close eye on the liquidity. Because if we start working through the turbulence, but we start seeing the liquidity starts becoming bearish, we start seeing those red candles pop through, then it does get a little concerning, right?
Right. And what happens with this, the bottom bid also that's sitting there, the liquidity from the bottom bid that's sitting there, what it does also in the next couple of maybe hours or a day or so, right? It might stay flat, but it might actually start to become a resistance also, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And if this gets too turbulent, and the price kind of loses its liquidity, kind of bullish push that's going on, we're probably gonna enjoy having this 94 cent organic bid kind of just sitting here, just in case things get too turbulent, right? But again, as long as the liquidity remains bullish, turbulence, and then right up.
Right. And I think, we're saying liquidity a lot because that's what we're building. We're building this platform called Liquidity Alpha. We'll be hopefully showing very slowly what it measures, how it measures. But I think, yeah, for now, just bear with us, guys. We will be using the terminology a lot, liquidity, which might not be, you might not be familiar with this term.
You will be.
You will be soon, though. But that's cool.
So,
So looking positive
oh wait,
overall. Yeah.
yeah. So because that was the 2 hour, right? And then and then we looked at the daily, and we see almost more confirmation of our bullish outlooks. We just
Wait,
see
wait,
these
wait. Which
nice.
one is this? This is virtual.
This is with
Oh, this is
is
WIF.
the
Sorry.
yeah,
Yeah.
but this was just on the daily. So
Right.
the last one was the 2 hour.
Right. Right.
And then on the daily, we kind of see, because I think initially we looked at the daily and it's just bullish. So just kind of looking in more detail, we looked at that 2 hour and it looked like we had hit that nice level of support.
Right.
We were bouncing back up. And if we look up on the daily view, we see that it's bullish with no resistance.
Man, there are no asks. So there is on the daily time frame, there is no ask sitting above the price at this stage.
Right. So no, no turbulence expected.
No resistance, really. Just support.
Right. There's a little concern that, if the coin, if it ever needs to test those organic bids, they are a little further away, but they're there and liquidity is bullish. So even if, we see a test down to 73.7 or, at the worst case scenario down to 13.8, that's, the expectation is still, that's just a buy the dip opportunities.
Yeah, yeah, and we might see a pullback a little bit and a little bit of turbulence, but overall, at this stage, it's looking very positive. Yeah,
Yes.
cool.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's
the,
amazing.
the majority outlook up. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like it. I think.
And then we have virtual you mentioned.
Virtual, yeah, that's the last one we want to look at for
And
today.
this is a cool chart because we see this organic bid come in, and we can see the difference the price did, just kind of how it behaves with when that level of, when the resistance becomes a support, right? We get a nice boost to this price movement.
Well, I'll tell you though. I'll tell you though, like last 30 days, it's gone up 240%. So it has a massive run up in last month.
Yeah, it's up what? Yeah. I think I think we're being modest. We have a 345%.
345
at the
right.
414 if we want to go to the peaks. It seems. Yeah, that's. And then but we have this nice level of support, and there's, again, like you always you don't want to need to test the levels of support, but it's good to identify where they're at and if we do need them. And so we do see here we have about 62 cents. But again, LDP, it's bullish. Liquidity is bullish, and so the outlook is up. But yeah, if we, risk management, likes to find these where they're organic, where the support is.
Yeah. And what about 1 hour? If we were to look at 1 hour basis, because this is 1 day daily, right? Because this is oh, look at that. That's where.
This is where things get.
It's starting to get a little bit choppy.
Unfortunate. Right, and this might be the introduction to that turbulence that we just kind of were like, we hope it doesn't happen, but when we zoom into the 1 hour, we see that the bars are now being painted red, so that's pretty bearish. And we did fall through, this looks like this level of support is
becoming a resistance.
The price is clinging, right? Like it's trying, but with, and this is similar to what we mentioned earlier with, I think, Ethereum and Bitcoin, where, as long as things are green and bullish, then, through these turbulent times, you can expect to come through bullish. But this turbulence on the 1 hour looks like we might be testing downside.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah. At least, on an hourly basis, even though daily still looks positive, but yeah.
Yeah. And so, let's go to the 4 hour, and we can see that we do still have bearish, but we have a nice level of support here at $1.75 about. And we could say that actually this level of support kept things in check around the middle of May. It was able to pop things back up. And so, no reason to expect things are different this time. So could probably expect movement, down to $1.75, but that looks like a very nice sort of buy the dip opportunity.
Yeah.
Worst comes to worst, we get a breakthrough and we have like $1.34-ish.
And that might happen in a week's time. Like it doesn't need to. It's not like we're sort of projecting it to happen in the next 4 hours. It could be a slow move down. But that's
for sure.
Yeah, that's what liquidity is telling us. That's where liquidity is sitting there on both up and down side. I think that's what we're showing on the graph here on the trading view.
Yeah, because if we do that's a good point that you mentioned. So I'm trying to do there's like a way to look at just time, date range. So if we look at like how long a bounce normally takes, from bottom to, that's.
Oh, yes.
Here, that's one whole day.
Right.
And so you got to think that this could be a day, this could be like 2 days, but, kind of the market's an evolving, it's kind of like an animal, right? It kind of evolves, it changes, it reacts.
Yeah.
But here we see, so looking at the 4 hour, definitely we have an outlook that could be like day, 2 days.
Yeah.
For sure.
Market's a beast, man. Come on.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So
yes, it is.
Things can change any moment, but I think the aim for us here is come together 4 times a week from Tuesday to Friday to discuss various coins and then look back on what happened with these coins. But I think that being said, thank you, Justin, for sharing your point of view on these 4 coins, and we'll rejoin tomorrow to look back on what happened with these coins. Cool.
Yeah, perfect. And thanks for having me.